Crypto Medic, risk of mind, to save yours, in both life and crypto, in crypto, in crypto, in crypto, Crypto Medic. Good afternoon. I wanted to take a moment to title this Second Chances. The reason why I'm doing it at a second chances is because it fits both health issues and money. Sometimes when you're starting off small in life, or you've had a very hard life, or you've had something dramatic happen in your life, and you come up to where you're not where you want to be, every day that you wake up gives you an opportunity to have a second chance. I say that because of both happenings in my personal life, as well as things that I've seen out in the field, and as well as, friends, close friends of mine, things that's happened in their lives. So on the crypto side or money side, we don't even need to say crypto specifically. We can say money side of things. People often work so hard and don't feel that they can get ahead. And when it comes to special times around like birthdays or anniversaries or Christmas, they just don't feel like they have enough money to do what they want to do. Sometimes you'll go years without even taking a vacation. And people are always wanting to learn how to, try to make that extra little bit of money. Now, I deal with cryptocurrency generally. I do with some other stocks and bonds. And cryptocurrency is decentralized, and it's not necessarily controlled by banks or anything. Whereas other investments, stocks, bonds, etc., do have backings of banks and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm talking about second chances is because of things that I've seen even with starting in the cryptocurrency world. The other day I talked about taking $18 and converting it into $66. So just imagine what small amounts do. And I talked a little bit about ICOs and going into them. After you've researched them, by all means, I am not your financial advisor. This is what I am doing with my money. This is money that I've invested and that I've been seeing a return, and that's a positive thing. And I'm happy about it, and I'm ecstatic about it. I've been able to do a little bit more than what I've normally been able to do, but it's taken a little bit of money, generally like during an ICO, and buying some into investing it during that ICO and getting coins at a reduced amount, maybe 50 cents. But when these ICOs happen, they open up and they start doing their exchanges, whether you stake, whether you do a lending platform for a more passive income, or whether you are all about the buy now and as soon as the exchange opens you sell because you want some money for yourself. Well, when the exchange is open, that doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to automatically jump. However, and sometimes they deal with both the internal and external exchanges. When it goes out to the external exchange, it gives a little bit more leeway for people with their money, because they can buy and hold and sell at a higher profit. But there's also people who might not necessarily want to be involved in a platform, but they want to do the buying of a coin and then selling it for a higher profit, or arbitraging per se, and they generally use the external exchanges for that. I deal with both some arbitraging and in a platform, and the reason why it's important is taking just a little bit of money, a matter of $35 or so, and it can be a lot less and it can be a little bit more. and slowly investing in these. Now, as these coins, as you see, the other day I only had 180. Now I've got 421 coins. Excuse me. As the coins grow, this is currently just has an internal exchange. It's fixing to open up to an external exchange, which will open it up to a lot more people being able to mess around or invest. And hopefully the coin value will go up. There's been some platforms where you bought in at 50 cents or 75 cents. And they went out on an exchange, both external and internal. And I'll be darned if it didn't pop up to like $480 a coin or $375 a coin. So just imagine the potential that you have to make some of that income at 50 cents that you might have bought one coin for at an initial ICO, and you save it for a while, and it's not going to just happen instantly. You have to have patience. Patience is, a huge thing. You have to have that patience. You have to have trust, you have to have faith, and you have to have patience. And eventually, as the coin value increases, you pick a point that you want to sell that coin for your profit. And once you've recuperated the initial amount of money that you've invested, then anything past that's going to be your profit. And then it becomes the money that you can use for future ICOs. So just take that in chance. It's a second chance. I mean, just take that in mind. Now, on the medical side, what I want to talk about specifically is second chances with people who may have had strokes. Now, strokes can present in many, many different ways. You can have strokes where you have deficits to one side or the other. You can have massive strokes where you lose all functions. There's 3 different types of strokes. One's an ischemic, also known as an embolic stroke, and it occurs when your blood vessel is actually blocked, so the blood's not able to flow through the brain. Hemorrhagic is when there's a bleed. Generally, like their vital signs will appear normal on a hemorrhagic and stuff like that, but they will have a severe altered mental status. And that's something you want to really take in consent. And then there's transit ischium attacks, or TIAs. And that's a basic, it's like having a mini stroke. You might have all the signs and symptoms, but it might not last long. But a TIA is something that you really want to concern yourself about, because that's just a future precursor to a bigger stroke coming. So you definitely want to get checked annually when you get your regular checkups, and let them know when you've been having stuff like that. But what I want to talk about second chances is sometimes an issue like a stroke and stuff will take you out of what your normal realm of life was. What you did every day, that same job you might have had for 30 or 40 years that you're amazing at, but a medical incident happened and it took you out of your comfort zone. So you need to learn to adapt. That doesn't mean that you automatically become where you can't do anything at all. No, not at all. Remember, I talked about taking other steps, doing other things. With strokes, you adapt. You want to get therapy, physical therapy. You may work on things. You may have some deficits, but that does not take you out of the game at all. It just gives you a little curveball to make you stronger and better. And, strokes, you want to watch, you're smoking, you're overweight. And believe me, your CryptoMedics is very, very, very overweight. And I've been big all my life. Something I'm currently working at. Hopefully I'll lose a little pounds there. Your lifestyle can all have that. Significant amount of stress can help cause strokes. Now, just because you have altered mental status or you have facial droopage or stuff like that does not necessarily mean that it's a stroke. Those are all signs and symptoms of one. But you can have people with diabetes who have a low blood sugar and stuff like that can show the exact same signs and symptoms. You want to check their blood sugar first and rule that out. If they have a normal blood sugar, generally 60 to 120, give or take, and then it differentiates on the person themselves, but whatever normal blood sugar level for that person is. Also, sometimes you can show the signs in your face, like have facial droopage to one side or the other, but not necessarily have any other signs going on, and that could be Bell's palsy. So, but if you notice that people are starting to have slurred speech, and there's no alcohol involved, that wild night in Tijuana, you caught that side show that you didn't really want to see, but you're overdrunk. Sometimes when you're slurring your speech from too much alcohol, that's one thing. But when you have somebody who's been acting normal and within an hour or so later, it just suddenly changes. Slurred speech, unable to have equal grip on both sides. Maybe not, they have a slouch to one side of the face or the other. Those are signs and symptoms of stroke. Not able to, they're trying to get words out, but not necessarily making sense. Those are signs and symptoms of the stroke. Things that you want to go, and you immediately want to call 911 and have them transported. Hopefully they'll do evaluation. There's different things like race and Cincinnati stroke scale and stuff like that we use in the EMS world to help diagnose possible strokes. And then you want to get them to a stroke center as soon as possible, to find out if they're eligible for like a clot buster or something like that. But when you're dealing with second chances, that doesn't necessarily, because of the event happen, makes your life ending. It makes a whole new world for you to be able to conquer. And you are never too rich or too poor to take an adventure. It all starts with the first step and the utilizing of the resources around you. Your adventure can be as big or small as you like. Write a book or a poem, lose yourself in a song, make a new friend, or even say a kind word to someone you don't even know. Adventures are not always traveling, but the act of doing something new. When you have things that change your life dramatically, you're always set on a path for a new adventure. Utilize whatever resources you have. I want to dedicate this video to a close personal friend of mine. His nickname is Swamp Donkey. And Swamp Donkey is a paramedic that's been around for a long time, but he's recently had a CVA. I'm not going to give you his real name. He can log on, he can subscribe, he can write his name out, or if he chooses. But I learned a lot from him in the EMS world,